My name is Matt Keegan, and I work at Barnard College of Columbia University. I'm the Moinian Assistant Professor of Middle Eastern Cultures. So I work on Arabic and Islamic Studies. My department is Asian Middle Eastern Cultures at Barnard College of Columbia University, but I work on Arabic literature and Islamic studies. So the project really started with looking at how these user notes in Arabic manuscripts enhance the prestige of a particular manuscript, right? So if a famous scholar or a prince has engaged with a text, we might see a note on that manuscript that says, "I read this text on this day." And my suggestion was that these kinds of notes actually enhance the prestige of the manuscript, and I see evidence of that in the Arabic historical tradition. So that's kind of where I started. And over the last 2 years, I've been looking at user notes and attendance certificates that appear in these manuscripts. So you can actually see who read this manuscript aloud, where, when, and to whom. So basically, over the course of the project, I've been looking at different manuscripts with these attendance records, with these certificates, and I came across one particular manuscript that has become the center of my research, which I would not have come across, would not have worked on were it not for doing this project and thinking about paratexts, and particularly these sort of socially driven paratexts. And what I discovered in this manuscript was that there was this very intense project of imbuing this manuscript with social networks and social meaning. And so the copyist and his son actually co-created this manuscript and produced this massive archive of reading practices and reading sessions from around 1100 AD to 1222 AD. And so we have over 100 years of people reading this one book, which is actually a book about love, passionate love, people dying from passionate love and longing. And we have a really extensive record now of the reading practices around this manuscript. So that's what I've really been focusing on, because I came across this manuscript and its sort of rich documentary evidence for reading practices in Baghdad in the early 13th and late 12th century. The thing about these certificates that I read is that they're written in a documentary hand. So they're not written really in the way that the body of the text will be written, which is usually in like a clearer script. Instead, they're written in kind of a quick, dashed off scribble. So you'll see one and the same person will have one hand when they're writing the text itself, and then a different script in hand when they're writing this note. And so these notes, these documentary certificates, are actually really challenging to read. It was never part of my training to read these manuscript notes. And so engaging with a manuscript that had such extensive documentary records meant that I got a lot of training in reading these notes, because the notes in this particular manuscript repeat over and over again. So you'll see that one person has read this part of the book, and then this part of the book, and then this part of the book. And so you get like 20 chances to read a guy's name, 20 chances to read similar certificates. And so my research assistant and I were working on this for about a year and a half, transcribing these notes from a manuscript, dozens and dozens of certificates. And then we went back to the beginning and were editing our earlier work, and we realized just how much we'd improved because we'd been doing it for a year and a half. So just doing it for a year and a half over and over again allows you to see, like, this is a specialized skill. This is something that requires specialized training and familiarity. And you can learn new skills as, somebody with a PhD, somebody who's been working on Arabic manuscripts for a while. There are so many different skills that are needed. And this is one of those that I think is really important for understanding the history of Arabic thought and culture in the medieval period, but it's also one that we don't have a lot of people training in the academy. So I think it was a really exciting experience to take the time with a colleague, with a research assistant, to really learn how to read these notes. So that's really changed the way that I approach scholarship now. I mean, there are things that earlier on in my career I would not try to come up with or try to engage with new methodologies. And now I think that having been in the field for a little while, just because it's not something that was part of my training doesn't mean that it's not something that I can't start working on and learn about. So these certificates that I've been transcribing, there are a few scholars across the world who are working on these kinds of certificates, and we are now engaged in sharing our transcription data with a bunch of other projects. And so I think the project itself, with all of the other sub-grantees, has allowed us an opportunity to sort of engage with each other on an annual basis when we meet. But I also think that spending the time on this kind of project and realizing that, yes, there may only be a few people working on this exact kind of documentary evidence across the world, but if you can make connections with those people, you can actually collaborate on really interesting projects and draw on different kinds of expertise.